Atlanta Bread Company wants to make your dining experience as convenient as possible, especially if you're ordering takeout. Go online to atlantabreadcompany.com, place your order there, and pay for it too. Then, when you get to the restaurant at Cherry Dell Point, you breeze right by the cash registers and go straight to the pickup counter where your food will be waiting. And speaking of food, try the new Shrimp Po' Boy, a delicious and surprisingly healthy addition to the already great menu. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherry Dell Point in Greenville.
Holding, number 79, defense, first down. I'm also holding a party tonight.
Great call by the official. Looks like we've got another flag on the field.
Holding, a Pepsi. Necessary refreshment.
Hey, Ted, bring some of that Pepsi to my party.
Pepsi and the NFL. Welcome to the Fun Doesn't End Zone.
All right, we are back and rolling along. Hope that your day is going well. Guy sitting next to me, of course, is the head coach of the team that just knocked off the South Carolina Gamecocks down in Columbia, Brett Harker. His baseball team back in action at home beginning tomorrow for 3 with Central Connecticut State. How you doing?
Doing well, man. I like the sound of that intro right there. It was it's been a fun couple of days. Obviously, look, we've had a tough little stretch here with our schedule, and to win a big game like that, obviously in state against the Gamecocks, it's just a little more fun to roll into stacks the next morning. They said I rolled in like Vince McMahon walking into in an arena, just another game, all that stuff. That was a fun game for our team. I mean, you can see it for our program, and it couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, I mean, it beats the intro having to be the coach of the team that just lost 5 in a row to Power 5 competition.
Yeah, that's a lot better intro there. Yeah.
Your boys played well, and I thought for the most part, probably your most complete game of the season, taking all facets of the game. And I know you didn't necessarily like the number of bases on balls that your pitching staff gave up, but no errors, the ability to move runners along and then get hits to get those runners in. I thought the total package was good.
Yeah, I agree. And look, we're going to continue to get better at those things. We really pushed our guys yesterday and had some meetings that you probably wouldn't typically think we would have after beating South Carolina. We had some meetings really challenging our pitching staff. I mean, all we preach as a staff is make them make a decision. Get your decision the first 3 pitches. We like our starters going deep into the game on very minimal pitches, and then we like our bullpen forcing contact, not letting them hitting, forcing their contact. And we haven't done a great job at that, but the mentality's there. The guys know what we expect. It's just literally a matter of going out there and doing it, and we're going to get better at that. But the last thing we're going to do is get complacent over one victory. It was a fun game, and I'll remember it. You know, hopefully it becomes a lot more regular to where it's not that big of a deal. But to call a spade for our program, it was a big deal. And but we're not going to get complacent. We're going to continue to try and get better at those things that you talked about, so we don't have to skirt around those innings. There was a couple innings where a couple things had to go our way, and that's baseball. It hasn't been going our way, but it did on Tuesday, and you know, we got a quality opponent coming in this weekend.
Yeah, Tyler Kimbrell's arm may not have been the best, but thank God for his foot. So, I mean, those things balanced out, right?
Yeah, it hit his shin, and his shin is the size of it's pretty large right now.
Yeah.
So, but that was as you said, a kick save and a beaut.
I loved him coming off the mound, though, you know, pumping the fist.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't hurting him too much then. He got the adrenaline out of his body, and I'm sure it's like, wow, that doesn't feel real good.
Yeah, and, you know, it's funny when you have the insight on the guys that we do, 2 things happen there. One, it hit the toughest guy on our team. If you were in a bench clearing brawl, you want that guy in front of you. You're never going to get to anybody. TK is about as tough as anybody you're going to find. And then it went to the one guy on the field that I call the Labrador, where he wants the ball at all times. If there's a ball around, he's just like my dog. Like if I wave a ball, it catches, and he's sitting there waiting for the ball, rolls right to him. He picks it up and fires it across the infield. And, you know, stuff like that happens. And we talked about at NC State. They're an unbelievable team, but it also gets to the point where Every ground ball goes perfectly between your infielders. Every bloop falls in, and then the big home run. And all anybody ever talks about is the big home run. And you're sitting there going, yeah, but it's just baseball has that way of doing it to you, and you just hang in there till breaks start going your way.
Well, the home run that Trent Alley gave up to Madison Stokes, if he had given that home run up in the previous inning, you have issues because he gave up one run, but they had multiple guys on base.
Right.
That's a 2-out solo home run. You're going to give up the long ball. It's part of the game. You just want to give them up when nobody's on.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's what we preach. And it's, look, a pitching staff that pitches at Latham Stadium knows that better than anybody in the country. We play in one of the smallest ballparks from center field to left field. It plays pretty big to lefties pulling the ball, but they know we're going to give up our home runs. And I think it's an advantage to us at Latham. Our pitchers aren't shocked at all. If there's a fly ball hit the left field, we're actually shocked when it's caught. And it doesn't rattle us. We just know we can't have both our defense and our pitchers know we can't give up free runners to make that a 2 or 3 run home run.
Now, having said that, Trent Alley in his 2 starts, command has been a bit of an issue for him. The walks obviously have to get cut down. But when you look at the numbers in total, in 2 starts against Clemson and South Carolina, 8 2/3 innings combined and only 2 earned runs, 3 total, 2 earned runs in that time. I mean, as they say back in West Virginia, that dog will hunt. You'll take that, won't you?
That dog will hunt. I've been very, very proud of him. We had a team, the meeting I was talking about with the pitching staff. What's so funny about baseball, and I learned this very quickly in the minor leagues, is what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And if you think it's anything else past the high school level, it's just not. And Trent Alley was good, wasn't unbelievable in the fall. In the spring, he got a little bit better, but still not unbelievable. And then right before the season started, he made a couple adjustments we were talking about with his alignment, and he started really throwing the ball well. And I actually made a comment to the team. I said, when we were talking about what have you done for me lately, I said, here's a perfect example. I said, we're going into game 1, and I have all the confidence in the world in Trent Alley. And it's because that's the last thing in my brain. That's something I saw him make an adjustment, and in my head, I feel like he's going to carry that into the season.
Yeah.
And sure enough, you never know how baseball is going to work. Obviously, Heath Hawkins has the injury. A couple guys that we thought were potential starters have a couple injuries, and Trent gets what we call an opportunity. And that's what I tell guys always. It's an opportunity. You're not guaranteed anything. It's an opportunity. And he's made the most of it. And that's what life's all about. That's what we preach to our guys. I don't know when your opportunity's coming. I don't know how big of a situation it's going to be in. But regardless of the score, regardless of the game, make the most out of the opportunity, and you're going to get the ball again. It's that simple on our roster. I don't play favorites. I don't care if you're a freshman or a senior. When you get the ball, make the most out of the opportunity. And you've seen that out of that kid. And you know what happens with that? All of a sudden, confidence is building. And now my big talk to him is going to be, all right, you've been in 2 big-time atmospheres and done that, because he did that last year at South Carolina as well. Mm-hmm. Now let's see you do it on Tuesday at Latham when you don't have the enormous stadium. Are you going to be able to compete like that? And that's going to be I'm always finding a way to challenge them in a different way. So that's going to be my challenge to him. But getting back to your point, could not be more proud of the way he's competed.
Is it fair to say then that he has grabbed that opportunity and has taken hold of the midweek starting spot? Because as we know, if you're going to compile a resume, you got to win the midweek games, and that has been an issue for this program in recent years. So is it fair to say that right now he's the guy?
Absolutely. No question in my mind. And like I said, the easiest part of my day, the absolute easiest part of my day is make out my lineup. And I strictly go with who deserves it. And that guy has taken the bull by the horns and made the most out of the opportunity and proved to me that he could compete. And at the end of the day, if you're competing, I can live with it. I want to win every game. And I tell people, when someone says you can't win every game, that's an absolute lie. You actually can. Every game it doesn't matter what you did before or what's coming up. If you just win that game at the end of the year, if you just did that every time, theoretically, you can win every game.
Mathematically, it's possible.
You can do it, right? But the whole thing is, if we have that mentality, every game, we can win that game. We're not thinking about what happened the game before or the game next. If that's our mentality, then when you roll into South Carolina, that's fine. It doesn't matter. We just got our teeth kicked in at NC State. That's that game. It has nothing to do. And matter of fact, I think that we just become a little bit tougher and our iron got a little bit sharper because of what we went through.
This is Brett Harker, the baseball coach here. I'm sure most of you know that by now. Another guy I wanted to talk about before we preview Central Connecticut State a little bit is Landon Kay, who has been scuffling big time. He started the season 0 for 17 with 10 strikeouts. Continues to battle. Tuesday night in Columbia, I thought at the plate he looked more like Landon Kay, and to me, it was a bat that he actually made an out on, but it was a ball that he hit the other way. It showed me that he was staying on the ball and hitting the ball, because I started to take some video from behind home plate up at Raleigh, and I got caught up with some things. It was clear to me on some of the swings at NC State that he was really opening up and flying out. He hits that ball in the air the other way down at South Carolina the other night. I thought, that's the swing.
Yep, that's the exact thing I told him when he came in the dugout. I said, that's you, you know. And look, we do this with pitchers and we do it with hitters. If it's not right in BP, it's going to be tough to have it right in the game. If it's not right in the bullpen, it's going to be very tough to have it right. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but just over the years, you kind of realize it's going to be tough. And he had some things going on with his swing, even in BP here in the first, let's say 6 games. And I will tell you, he has looked like himself in batting practice again. I think you're right. I think he had a couple at bats where he's starting to look like himself. And look, that guy's been really good for us in his career, and we know he's very, very talented. And I know it's just a matter of time, and it's going to take a day. You know it. I know it's going to take a day where he drives 2 balls in the gap, he gets 2 C&I ground balls, and then he's on top of the world, and he's going to get rolling.
I mean,
again.
you go back to the middle game of the North Carolina State series when he got his first hit. The previous at bat, he hit the daylights out of the ball, and the third baseman takes 1 step to his left, reaches above his head. So what does he do the next at bat? He hits one off the end of the bat and dunks it down the right field line.
Everything you don't teach.
Yeah.
Gets rewarded with a hit.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the game of baseball.
Yep.
Hopefully he's coming around. And if Tuesday was a sign, it looks like maybe your entire offense is starting to come around a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Bottom of the order looked like they were swinging the bats better.
Yeah, I really think so, too. And look, I call a spade a spade. The arms that we've seen are plus arms. And I think by the time we got to Tuesday, it just became arms to us. And, we're at Clemson. The first guy's pretty good. And then they're just bringing in guys that are throwing thunderbolts. I mean, all you do is hear it, and if you hadn't seen it in a while, it's the same way as when teams come in from the north. We talk about it all the time. When you come in and you haven't been outside, 88's like 92. And when you haven't seen 92, 92 is like 96. It's just until your eyes get adjusted. And once again, that's kind of the theory behind what we're doing right now. If we can really challenge our guys, would we rather be 8-0 right now? Of course, I'd love to be 8-0. But I like where we sit. We're 4-4. We've played all regional teams except for South Carolina, who, by the way, is 2-time national champ. They're pretty good, too.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And, we're getting used to facing this very high-level competition. Football did a very similar thing with their schedule. They played some really tough teams and then went on a really good run when they went to the SoCon. And I told our guys, if you think it's over, you're crazy. We're facing another regional team this weekend. Oh, and then by the way, we still got Harvard, Michigan State, Illinois, and fly out to Wichita. We're about the halfway point of this madness.
Yeah. The good news is from tomorrow through the end of the month of March, you're only away from home 4 games, and counting the 2 games at Fluor Field as home games.
We need to consider that home games.
Yes,
yeah.
They against Michigan State and Illinois. But I think it's 18 games, and 14 of them are at home, and one of the road games is just up the road in Rock Hill at Winthrop, and then you've got the 3 at Wichita State. So you've got an opportunity. I hesitate to use the phrase "get comfortable" because that's not right, but to kind of, all right, we've made it through part A of this gauntlet.
Right.
Now here's part B, and we get to start getting well and getting things going in some familiar territory.
Yeah, I agree.
Before the conference season.
I agree. And look, I think we play really well at home. Mm-hmm. I think that we have an edge at home. There's something about Latham. It's a place that obviously it's our home, so we're comfortable. But there's something about Latham. And we go to these places all the time, and I say, man, they might have more stands. They might have this and that. I still like our stadium. It's just something about it's a good place to play a baseball game. It's got a good atmosphere. And it's going to be good to be back home. People don't realize with these Power 5 schools, if you look at their schedules, they can go the first month and a half without playing a road game. They'll play them all at home, and that's the luxury they have. They pay guarantees, and it's just one of those things where they play a ton of home games early on, and that's fine. So it's kind of nice to have this stretch here where we're getting to get comfortable at home and play a lot of games where you bat last. That's kind of a big deal.
It helps.
And I won't say anything about umpires. We're at home. We'll put it that way.
I'm not going to throw you out of the booth.
I appreciate
You're
that.
fine. All right, so tell us about Central Connecticut State, another regional team from a year ago. So we don't want people to say, "Oh, well, they just played South Carolina." Let's go ahead and chalk these up. You can't do that.
No, they're going to be good. I think it's going to be a lot like Marist, where obviously it's a northern team, so they haven't been outside a ton, but they're coming in here expecting to win, and our job is to prove to them that they're not. I think they won 36 or 37 games last year. Obviously, went to a regional. They actually went to TCU's regional, which is means a little bit to me because they're the purple school that I like to say that we can build into being one day, and they gave TCU a run for their money. So obviously they're going to return a lot of confidence. They've not been on the field a whole lot. They're 1-2 on the season. They've only played one series. So I think our experience gives us the advantage there. Being at home gives us the advantage. But I'll tell you, this is no rollout. No, they're impressed that we're Furman. Not by any means. We're going to have a dogfight on our hands, and I think that is a really good test for our guys. And I'm always trying to figure out some way to challenge them. But okay, you just played all these Power 5 schools with the big names, and they have all the social media, and I call teams with names on the bases. You know that you're playing big time. They got their names on the bases, right? So you've played all those teams. Now you got a true test on somebody that is a quality opponent without that big name. How are you going to respond? How are you going to compete? What kind of focus are we going to have? And that's going to be a big challenge for us that I'm excited looking going into it.
One thing that you can say about the northern teams early in the season, they don't get outside a lot until they come down here. But the flip side of that is going on the road doesn't faze them because that's where they spend a good portion. I mean, Marist, I looked at their record last year. They only played 18 home games all last season. So going on the road really doesn't faze those teams.
At all.
That's what they have to do.
Yeah, and I was actually talking to Chris, their head coach, and he has, I believe it's 7 dates where he plays at home because they play double headers. So he's like, Coach, do you realize I have 7 game days at home? So the road means nothing to them. It's irrelevant. That's just where they play. So they're not going to be fazed by that at all. And over the last 4 years playing a number of northern teams, I've noticed that when you take a lot of swings in the cages and you're very good at the fundamentals. They're usually pretty good at bunting. They're pretty good if you're going to stay away. They're pretty good at staying with the pitch and hitting it through the 4-hole. I don't know about Central Connecticut all that much in great detail. It's hard to find much video on them at all. But these are just things that I've learned over the years with them coming down.
Yeah, well, it's going to be fun. 4 o'clock. 1 o'clock on Saturday, and then 11:30.
11:30.
On
that's
Sunday.
The weird time. Yeah, obviously they got plane where we had to adjust for their flight back home, so it'll be an early start on Sunday. But the weather looks gorgeous. It's supposed to have some sunshine. Obviously it's foggy and rainy today. We put the tarp on yesterday. There will be no problem with the field. It's supposed to be the perfect conditions to dry up the field tomorrow, which is every coach's dream: wind and sun, which dries up any field. So we're excited about that, and it looks to be a great weekend for baseball.
And then the sporting gods are with us because the schedule broke perfectly on Saturday. You can go to baseball at 1, have plenty of time to get to Asheville for the basketball team's quarterfinal game against Western Carolina at 8:30, and then Sunday with the 11:30 baseball start. Once we win in Asheville on Saturday and make it to the semifinal Sunday at 6:30, you got plenty of time to get there as well. So no excuse not to be able to support everybody.
I like the sound of that, and I like the optimism. That's what I like about you.
That's what we do.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
Hey, Saturday, just a little sports marketing. Saturday, dollar hot dogs, and our first, what I believe is going to be, they're going to do it by class. So I believe on Saturday is going to be the baseball cards for our freshmen, which is a talented group. Get their rookie cards now.
I like that.
You like that?
I like it. And dollar hot dogs.
Dollar hot
as
dogs
well.
on Saturday. So it'll be a great time to come out to the ballpark.
All right, Brett, thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
That is Brett Harker, and we are done. We will talk to you again tomorrow, same time and same place. Until then, folks, have a good one. God bless you, and so long, everybody.